Good morning, everybody. How's it going? How y'all doing? It is 9:25 a.m. My mom and sister Tracy just left. My mom's gonna drop Tracy off at Michael's. Um, and I feel like this is kind of a double-edged sword here. I'm not sure why I have to be here in this house, other than the safety of people, right? Uh, Not necessarily all peoples, but maybe um, making sacrifices with ADT, being in this house. Um, so obviously, and I say obviously, I don't want to take away from others' talents and skills. In fact, I want to do what I can to uplift other people's talents and skills, um, especially pertaining to quality of life, right? So, as far as this double-edged sword thing, it's for some reason there's an entity, dare I say, organization, uh, that's not only keeping me from my husband, uh, especially before 2021 and after, right? Um, so that's happening. It's not like my husband is deciding, oh, I'm just going to leave her in San Antonio. I don't want to spend any time with her. It's not like I'm deciding, oh, I want to stay in San Antonio. I don't want to spend any time with him. These are sacrifices we're making, trying to make the best of whatever this situation is, whatever you want to call it. The election in 2020 that took several weeks, a couple of weeks to count the votes, had the most turnout in history, I think, right? United States history. It's looking like there's that matchup again. So, I guess we'll see where that takes us as a country and obviously as the world. But I want to say is double-edged sword here. I don't understand why there's this whole expectation when you're a minority, and I'm a minority. I don't know if you know this. I'm a minority. So, with that being said, I don't know why there's this expectation that the minority vote is Democrat. It seems to me like that's a way of taking away a voice. You're telling a minority they have to have this voice. And if they don't have that voice, then they're not a minority. So the United States is a big country. Obviously, there's corruption. I think if you're a Democrat, you say that, and if you're a Republican, you say that. So if one of the biggest countries has corruption, what is the trajectory, the statistical analysis of other countries that aren't as big having corruption? Of course, in the same vicinity, hemisphere, so on and so forth. I'm just saying, I don't think it's a good look, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. But I'm going to emphasize the Democrat right now. If a minority has a certain voice and opinion, and then you make fun of that. And a way you make fun of that is saying they're not, that minority who voiced their opinion is not supporting other minorities who happen to be not in the best circumstances. There's obviously a lot of corruption going on. Okay? So we don't want corruption in the United States. We don't want corruption in Mexico and further south. We don't want corruption in Canada, right? As far as Western Hemisphere alliances. And maybe there's a lot of connections involved. Maybe if something happens over here, it affects somebody over here, right? So, to purposely keep me, a minority, from campaigning with my husband, and let's just keep it at campaigning because it gets even more dark from there, right? So, to keep me from campaigning with my husband, saying it's my husband's decision or my decision or that of a conservatorship, a third-party entity, and which never talked to me about it, right? Ever. And what that is, oh, there's the mail. It's the mail right there. There's the mail. I'm outside, and there's the mail this Saturday morning at 9:31 a.m. So anyway, I don't want to be with that minority. The mailman, I think he's gross and disgusting. A gentleman he is not. So to automatically not think of me as a minority, and then when you do think of me as a minority, I said, how could they treat me like this when I'm a minority? Democrats. I'm emphasizing Democrats here. Politicians. And maybe something other than a politician. I'm not a minority. I'm not considered a minority until unless, of course, you think you've got a win-win situation with this immigration issue. So, there's a lot of corruption going on. 1 second.